Hello, team. Welcome back to another Line Warcast. Here is our map today. A little bit of ocean on the left side, huge trade route on the right side. Both players are trying to pick the middle here just to get an idea of where they're thinking is the good starting spot. We have Animorph in red and valithor in blue. This game was played at some point during the Q2 2022 tournament. You can check out the Lineward Discord for all the info on that. I'm not sure exactly where. I've honestly forgotten. These players are good enough. This map this match is going to be good either way. It doesn't matter when it was played. So Animorph again in red, getting this southern part of this island as their spawn. Valithor is doing a really cool play, which is you bridge two land masses with a connecting ocean. The only problem for Valithor right now is that they're outnumbered here and they know it, and this is why they are grouping up their one unit. We can see what Valithor is seeing, right? Like so they know that there's a number disadvantage, and of course Animorph sees everything. So Animorph going for 2 airports and a factory as their first 3 buildings, following up with a quick dock. Valiflor went 2 dock, 2 barracks, and I like this play because one of the this is a great island on the right side here. So presumably boarding this is going to be one of the priorities for Valithor. Barracks from Animorph, this is probably going to either go for commandos to go across or more infantry to cap quicker on the rest of the island here. But you can kind of decide for yourself who has better economic expansion potential, and right now I think it's actually pretty even. Can check what Velthor's going to do with these boats. So of course they're going to go across. Check the income, 284 for Valthor and 308 for Animorph. So very small to start off, but of course we need to keep an eye on that because if it gets out of hand in either direction, that is bad news for one player. Animorph's going for Sam's right away. This kind of a defensive factory. The 2 strikers are just finishing up. Valithor is known for playing a relatively heavy airfield style, airport style, and I feel like in some sense they've kind of coined the play style a little bit. We watched them on stream the other day, and they had like 6 airports going, and you can make a very, I mean, it's a very strong way to play if you can navigate around your opponent's SAMs and pick the spots to get air engagements. Because once you get a critical mass of air, it's a very strong thing to have. So Animorph building SAMs might be because they know, or it's just a relatively safe thing. It feels like it's always nice to have, like, you know, 4 or 5, even 6 SAMs just around your base that you can move around at any given time. Valthor's the first one to get to this right side of the map on this right island. We're going to see where Animorph decides to go. They're gonna go across to the north side, which is a good play. I mean, the dock is right here, and it's so close. This extra barracks is really nice because it helps get more infantry over to cap quicker and to kind of push this back. I'd assume that a backside dock will happen at some point for Animorph because they'll know that this right island is actually relatively important. There's technically 3 trade routes. This trade route in the south, getting this town and this port to connect with these other 2 in the north, is going to be very difficult. I don't know how feasible that is for either player to hold that, because of the geography of the situation. Missile boats from Valthor out of the docks. I like this because this is going to become, I mean, this is what's going to be happening all game, is these 2 airports now are going to be launching strikers relentlessly at the north. So having the missile boats in this little channel can be huge, especially since Valithor's gas is right here. This is a relatively exposed gas. They have no other option, really. This isn't captured yet, and won't be for some time. So this really is the only gas that Valithor can get easily. Animorph has these 2, and I'm actually interested to see where Animorph hasn't made gas yet. So these strikers are about to run into a problem because they're going to run out of gas, and that'll mean that these boats run out of gas. I mean, on the other side of it, though, Yeah, see, valithor has got the gas up now. It's so unfortunate for valithor that these strikers were able to have enough gas to kill both boats and then get out of there. Checking the income, 440 for Animorph and 392 for valithor. So we can really see with that sort of income difference that like land is very strong in this game. How like at the current meta, of course, is having land mass is huge unless your opponent ecos, but there's no real easy eco for especially Valthor. I feel like, I mean, Animorph has this town, but you don't necessarily want to eco this quickly. I'm interested to see where like Valthor has better economic development potential because they're on this right side of the island already, or right island rather. This is a very interesting island in the middle with two gases. I don't know how much that will come into play in this game, but we could be surprised. Valthor's taking this long route all the way down to the bottom of the island. I like this. If you can get a proxy base kind of set up here, the strikers can barely hit it, and then you kind of split their attention. And we can see that these boats are on haste move, which is super sweet. That's why they're kicking up this badass looking water wake. And I mean, Valthor has the gas for it right now because their boats, I mean, once you get more navy in this game, you start using a lot of oil. This is known. Uh, we've lost a few, like I've lost a few games on stream and like just general because we make tons of boats and then we run out of gas for those boats because they do use a lot of gas. It feels like so. Second gas becomes really important on maps like this. If Valthor's got a airport of their own on the right side, this is for Valthor a very late airport. It's a good position. It'll be able to hit a lot of these buildings, and just in general kind of supports this right side of the island. Animorph's looking for what I assume is their second gas, or no. Okay, they're going across the island. Yeah, this transport boat has someone in it, so they're going to the left side to start capping this. We can see what the income is: 500 for Animorph and 500 for Valthor. So we're exactly even right now. These strikers weren't able to find that this transport boat. I think that was a pretty good play by Animorph to like notice and to try to cut it off, but unless maybe those strikers weren't going there. I don't know because they're now not kind of reacting fully to this, to the commandos on the bottom side of the island. So we're gonna see if those commandos can get a base set up. This will become very important. This kind of choke, and so I like how Animorph's gone for a cruiser here because they saw that Valthor's building um, missile boats, and so missile boats are great against the strikers, but of course they're not as good against cruisers. I mean, cruisers are the de facto best water unit when it comes to a straight up fight against other water units. I realize now that these strikers are trying to launch, but they aren't able to because they're out of gas, which is very sad for Animorph. Yeah, okay, so these commandos aren't even trying to proxy base this. They're just going to try to get up here and get on top of these airports, which would be a huge play for Valithor if they were able to pull that off and kill those airports. We can see that Animorph is landed on the left side. They'll start to slowly take that economy. This will become a fight on the north, although I think Valithor is going to be able to deal with this. This one commando is going up north around, which is really smart because if you can get into these mountains and build a proxy base, like just even a barracks or two for more commandos, that could be huge. We've heard a sub pen go down. That is what that noise is. Here it is. Animorph building a sub pen in the back. This is a nice, safe location. Because Animorph knows that Valithor is on the right side of the map in the north, that's a very safe sub location. These commandos are running in slow motion because they've been on haste move this whole time. So over time, if you keep running things on haste move, they will slow down and run out of energy and HP, I believe. But I mean, this is okay. But the thing is, you want to get them over to the airports really quickly to start, you know, forcing things to stay at home for Animorph. Although Animorph's not even you know, ferrying things across the channel. So we'll see how much these commandos can get done. That's a huge question and could be a huge momentum shifter. Let's look at the rest of the map. You can kind of see what's going on. Another airport on the right side of the map for Valithor. Factory of their own pumping out SAMs. SAMs are of course a great move here. Until Valithor has like definite control of the waterway, and is able to post up a bunch of missile boats to make sure that these strikers can't just, you know, snipe the gas. It's great to continue to have SAMs. So this is a lot of missile boats, but I think numbers wise, yeah, Valthor might have to back up a little bit. These cruisers will do a lot of damage if they can get on top of these boats. And even now, it's just a lot of strikers, right? Like you kind of see how like it's not necessarily the most efficient of trades to launch all the strikers into all those missile boats, but because there's just so much for Animorph and boats of their own, that's pretty okay. That could be a lot worse. This is very bad for Animorph though. If they start losing this gas and all these strikers have to land. So income check is important here. 644 for the Valithor and 560 for Animorph. So we can see in the last few minutes, Valithor is just ripped ahead. I assume it's because this right side of the island. This is such a big play though, getting these commandos on this gas. Animorphs are going to be able to clear this pass with these cruisers. But this is a very, very unfortunate loss. And now Animorph notices. This is the hard thing about commandos, because you don't really notice that it's happening unless you see your buildings catching fire or hear the noise of the buildings getting sniped. Another gas from Valithor. Yes, this is a gas in the back. So this is their second gas. 3 airports now for Valithor on the right side. So in a few minutes, that's going to be enormous. Like, there's going to be just so many strikers that are going to be able to launch at Animorph's main base. Animorph's also out of gas. This is becoming a very tough situation for Animorph, I think. They're behind in income. Valithor is now getting, going to have a critical mass of strikers in the next few minutes. And how Animorph reacts to these strikers, I think, is going to be the big question. Keeping this gas protected is another one, and I'd expect a second gas for Animorph at some point, just because they do actually have a navy that consists of cruisers now. It's 2 full airports of strikers, and the submarines. If Animorph's going to get the submarines into play, they're going to need a lot more gas. This is what we're talking about a proxy base in the north. This one commando from Animorph, this could be a huge MVP of the game if Valithor doesn't notice that this is happening. Here's Animorph's second gas. They need to, of course, keep that protected. Valithor does notice that that territory is changing hands, but rather it's on the screen. It doesn't mean that there's so much multitasking going on that you wouldn't necessarily see that right away. Valithor's third gas on the right side of the island, or right island. This is pretty safe, of course, because of the docks that naturally kind of protect it. Enormously good trades for Valithor on the air. These SAMs. This is why it's nice to just have like a group of SAMs somewhere, even though like these missile boats, because the missile boats aren't able to get into the middle of this waterway yet. Commandos fighting artillery is never going to really feel good for the commandos. Although, just by pure numbers, Valithor will be able to clear this. And that saying of quantity has a quality all of its own. There's no economic development yet for either player. They're just checking. I know there's a lot going on. There's a commando landing on Animorph's Animorph's island, rather. This is good for Animorph in the sense that if they can get a beachhead here and kind of transport all these artillery across, this is a very fragile spot, I guess, for Valithor, because there's no real production. Like, these production buildings are on the other side of the island. This commando, obviously, big MVP. And Animorph doesn't have this territory. They must have canceled trying to like the capping part to snipe this gas, which I think is absolutely the right play. This commando drop from Valithor is not gonna work. The commando's gonna get on top of the airports, but I think, well, for one thing, I think the airport's gonna die to all these strikers now, but the commando will probably get cleaned up. This is why it's huge that Valithor was able to set up these 3 airports, because this is great SAMs from Animorph. Unfortunately for them, they were in the wrong position. There's no real way that Animorph knew that there were airports over here. Guessing that there would be airports to the north is probably a decent guess, since that's where Valithor's main base is. These commandos are so big. If this one commando gets this airport, I will be shocked. The commandos in the south could still do a lot of damage too, though, because like this is a great garrison of units for Animorph, but even getting a proxy base up or finding the sub pen. Gas for Animorph on the left island, so that is their 3rd. And they've been able to establish a beachhead on the north island. So this could be a big fight here coming up. With 3 artillery pieces, that's a decent amount. There's a lot of commandos that are going to be able to reinforce for Valithor, though. They're sending them up to the northern part of the map to deal with this one commando at first. The great SAM positioning by Animorph, but there's so many strikers that I think, yeah, Valithor can just keep going for it. Unfortunately for Animorph, the missile boats aren't able to take any shots at these strikers. And I think Valithor is going to get the airport. They're definitely going to get all the SAMs, yeah, but maybe even the airport. Not quite. But either way, the next time that these strikers run a sortie, they're going to be able to get the airport, because there's not really much left here for Animorph anymore. These 2 cruisers are going to do a great job against missile boats. We can watch. There's a lot of missile boats, though. And so as we kind of take a look at this, let's check the income. 776 for Valithor and 632 for Animorph. Valithor is also sitting on cash, which can be good, because if you actually sit on cash, it means that you're not paying upkeep costs or production costs, and if you don't need them, then it's better to hold on to your money in a lot of ways. So you can see especially just how effective the cruisers are. They definitely do a ton of damage to these missile boats. I think over time, if this cruiser gets in, then Animorph will at least be able to force another stalemate where both sides have to withdraw and kind of group up. But these 2 production facilities for Animorph are definitely dead at this point. And unfortunately, there's no airfield that these strikers are able to land at. So all those strikers that were on the airport are now dead. So that's a huge snipe. And in a lot of ways, that kind of cripples Animorph's ability to directly strike at any of Valithor's production. This fight becomes way more important. Like, now more than ever, this becomes an important fight for Animorph in the north. Artillery against SAMs, their artillery is definitely going to win that. We can see that they were able to snipe a Valithor's gas up there. This is what the rest of the map is looking for. We're getting some subs into play, but the subs aren't really in a spot that they're going to be able to do any damage to Valithor at the moment. Like, Valithor hasn't built a dock on this left side yet, so we'll see if the subs are able to get into, more into play here. This is going to be defended, I think. Well, actually, this artillery piece is going ham at this refinery, so the refineries are going to die. Over time, Valithor is going to be able to clean this up. I think at this point, there's just enough units. This is a lot of artillery, but I mean, this is just so good. Like, the rest of the map for Valithor, they're going to clean up these docks, so they're going to be able to push these docks in a second. Right, like, there's only 1 cruiser. Once Valithor gets some boats here, with the help from strikers, they're going to be able to take out this cruiser and then push all the way to the docks. And this is surprisingly not going to be a gas kill for Animorph, because these units are getting here. And yeah, this is definitely going to be a cleanup for valithor, which is huge. So we can see like how many strikers that valithor has. So there's 3 airstrips that valithor's put on the top. This is huge. This really gives like all the coverage they could possibly want on the north side of the island. Of course, the airports will continue to pump strikers out, which will be able to support this part of the island, like the southern part of the map, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Commando on the bottom is going to run into these 2 infantry in a second potentially, and the Animorph is going across the island here to get more income, although I believe they're probably quite far behind. 824 income for valithor and 692 for Animorph. And we heard a town. So this town for valithor and the other town in the north. So this is a trade route that valithor is going to be able to get up and running. These strikers are just totally like there's unfortunately for Animorph nothing they can do right now. Like there's no feasible way that they could stop that. There's not really going to be a way that they're going to be able to stop the other gas snipe, which is happening right now. Valithor's just going to take out both gases. So Animorph takes this gas, which is very safe in the ocean. Like at this point, Valithor, if they can get control of this middle island, will likely just win the game based on econ, because their economy will just continue to run away in this game. These commandos are going to at least get one of these buildings, because these commandos can actually 1v1 all these infantry. I mean, rather they're going to be 4v3 it, but like they could have a straight up fight here and do quite well. This airport is really bold. I think, unfortunately for Animorph, they have to build an airport here. They really need to regain some sort of control. But this is going to be very oppressive. 3 airports on the right side, and then 3 airstrips full of strikers on the north. Like, these airstrips are actually full. And yeah, we can see what valithor is about to do. They're going to clean up the rest of this production. They're going to get this island with the 2 gases, and over time, if they can get these trade routes up, their income is going to skyrocket. Trade routes are worth 10 territories worth of income, and that about says it all. Like, this is such a... Look at this critical mass of strikers. They use a ton of gas, but if you can support it, there's just no way that you can stop this amount of planes. You would really need like 2 full, retreated circles worth of SAMs to kind of deal with this, to even take a chunk out of it. I love the subs by Animorph here. If Animorph can get some subs kind of close, or maybe killing stuff like this, but it's very difficult at this point, especially because Animorph's totally out of gas. Like valithor, well, I guess pardon me, they do have the gas now with this one. I guess they have a second gas here. They must have a third gas. Oh, this one's still up. This one won't be up for long though. But either way, moving the subs is going to cost a lot of gas. It'd be sweet to get them involved, but I don't know exactly how to do that at this point. Can continue to look at the eco development. Valithor will surely get those ports at some point soon. 2 gas, double gas with on the island the commandos are right now defending. Valithor's moving these boats down to the south. I think it's just a matter of time before this is over. Like, the range on these are huge. Like, these airports can actually, like, especially this leftmost one, can hit pretty much everything on the island. Even if Valithor attacked here just slightly inside the range, as they've done in the north, these planes will still fly and kill these buildings. Like, it's not like that's, the blue line of where the strikers can fly is the absolute maximum. It's just the maximum place you could set the command. Sniping this gas over and over again is the most annoying thing valithor can do, really, for Animorph. I think it just, whenever you get on top of your opponent's gas situation, if you can just keep, you know, denying the gas or a surplus of gas, it's so big for you. 1070 income for valithor, 752 for Animorph. Animorph still has gas, but we can see, I don't think they have enough gas. Like, I don't think 2 refineries could support moving all these boats. I guess it can because there's no airports yet. And there's, what, so there's 2 gas. I would have actually thought that this many subs would not be able to be run on 2 refineries, but there you go. There's your answer. 7 subs, you can move it on 2 refineries easy. Port and port for valithor. So as time goes on, those trade routes will get up and see. So these attack routes on the kind of edge of the striker's range, these buildings are definitely dead. And like trying to post up this game, I don't really know what exactly went wrong for Animorph. Like losing the naval battle was unfortunate, but I think just those 3 airports on the right part of the map for valithor were just real MVP. Because at that point then, valithor just started sniping these gases, and then of course destroying this production over and over again. Yeah, these subs, if these subs get on the right side, they could maybe get all the way up to the dock. I mean, there's really not that much navy for valithor. Of course, they have enough planes that they could just launch the planes at where the subs are, and there would be enough planes to detect the subs. And then, I mean, the subs would be in a lot of trouble. Subs don't do great in just straight up fights. They do great in situations like this, where they pick up a few boats, without being seen, without taking much damage. We can see exactly how this fight would trade. Right? Like 2 missile boats against 3 subs. The missile boats saw the subs for a split second, but, you know, can't really do much in a straight up fight. Here comes the 60 gazillion planes that valithor has from the right side of the map. And on factories that have, you know, if you could pump SAMs for 5 minutes and still not be able to deal with this many strikers. And there's really nothing left to do because valithor has the best part of the economy on this right side of the map. They're building this town, all the towns on all the trade routes they are building. They have the 2 ports in the top. They're going to start building merchant ships out of those ports, and over time the income will again skyrocket. 692 for Animorph and 1290 for valithor. I like this dock in the back by Animorph and this town. I mean, you kind of have to eco a little bit because you know that your opponent is going to be so ahead. I think what's about to happen is these subs are going to get in here, start getting in a fight, and valithor's going to launch, again, 60 gazillion is the empirical number, for, like, of strikers at these subs. And I assume this is actually what they're doing here. Well, maybe valithor thought there was more production here, but this is, we can see valithor's vision, so there's... These subs are usually stealth, but there are enough buildings and units around for valithor that the subs are gonna get picked off. Yeah, very GG. I mean, for context, both these players are, I mean, obviously quite good. This is in the final stage of the tournament, and I guess I won't spoil it, but one of these players made it all the way to the grand finals. So there you go. I guess I said I wouldn't spoil it, but then I sort of did. But, you know, if that's on you if you listen to that and Of course I was going to mess it up. So I believe there's, yeah, this one commando just took on, you know, 3 old squadrons of planes. This entire island is valithor's over time. We'll get these two airstrips on the middle. Will of course give the range for valithor to push the south. And these trade routes are gonna come online. Like soon, valithor will be able to get the 2 ports on the remaining two towns, and then just you know, make a gazillion dollars. I don't know where all this artillery is going. Probably to try to deal with that one commando. This is definitely a killing blow. But yeah, very GG. I will say the disclaimer that I always do is that I stream Line War. Other folks do on Twitch as well. If you want to come over and say hello or follow the category and hang out, it's a good community. Feel free to join the Line War Discord. Especially, you know, if you're interested in what the Q2 2022 tournament was. Yeah, I said that right. And props to both players. And thank you to both players for, you know, allowing, you know, their replays to be casted. You know, props. Thank you so much. Sweet. Well, that was it. I hope you have a good day, night, evening, whatever it is for you. Enjoy. We'll see you around. Have fun.